I know exactly what most of you are thinking. How dare him compare anyone to the GOAT? And I totally understand. But according to the legend himself, Marcelo possesses a better technical ability than me. He is the world's best left back. Carlos was not the only great to rate Marcelo that highly. Maldini and Maradona had some mind-blowing compliments for the Brazilian. We will talk about those later. The biggest stat about Marcelo's career is this. He won more trophies at Real Madrid than any other player in their history. That includes 5 Champions League titles and 6 La Liga titles. He also made the UEFA Team of the Year 3 times, the FIFA Pro 11 6 times, and won several other accolades. He must have been really good, but how good? Welcome to Football Reminisce, and this is the career story of Marcelo.
Arbeloa otra vez con Granero colgando pelota al área, la llegada de Marcelo.
Marcelo Vieira da Silva Jr. was born in Rio, Brazil. His father, a fireman, and mother, a retired teacher. He grew up in the Catete neighborhood, a poverty-stricken area. Despite the poor upbringing, Marcelo grew up a happy and determined kid. As many kids do in that region, he turned to playing football, on the streets, on the fields, on the beach, wherever he could find a ball pretty much. He mainly played futsal, where he enhanced his technical ability and skill on the ball. At the age of 13, scouts were sent for a talent search in his area, and young Marcelo caught their eye and he was immediately signed to the Fluminense Academy. A massive opportunity for him and his family. The academy wasn't close by though. Marcelo had to take a bus to the academy and back home 6 times a week. Unfortunately, it became almost impossible to afford the daily trips, and he started missing training. He even considered quitting football and doing handy jobs just to help his father put food on the table. This is when a guardian angel appeared. Marcelo's own grandfather. He wanted Marcelo to keep playing football and offered to pay his bus fare. It wasn't so straightforward though. He himself had to work 2 or 3 jobs to make it happen. You might be wondering why 3 jobs? Well, Marcelo's granddad, whose name was San Pedro, didn't just want to give him the money and let him be by himself. No, he wanted to take Marcelo to the academy, support him by watching him play, buy him food, and take him back home. So it was basically paying for 2 people's travels on a daily basis. All he wanted was to support 13-year-old Marcelo and protect him. As you would expect, it eventually got too much for San Pedro, but luckily by this point, Fluminense had recognized Marcelo as one of their best players and were ready to make sure he always trained with them. So the club management covered some of the needs: the boots, the bus fare, the food, the basic things he needed to keep on playing. He was promoted to the Fluminense first team at the age of 17. In the 30 appearances he made, he scored 6 goals and proved to be one of the most promising fullback prospects: quick, skillful, and very offensive. He became the most sought-after talent, and European clubs were lining up for his signature. The choice was easy though. I think if you ask children in Brazil or anywhere in the world what they want to be, and they say footballer, and when you ask where, they all reply Real Madrid. Real Madrid paid 6.5 million euros and the Brazilian joined them in January of 2007. According to Ramon Calderon, club president at the time, he is an important signing for us, a young player who will inject some freshness into the side and is part of our plan to bring younger players into our squad. Marcelo was hailed as the potential heir to Roberto's throne. Carlos, who at that point was approaching the conclusion of his long and successful Real Madrid career. He made his La Liga debut just a few days later, coming on for Salgado in a 2-0 defeat against Deportivo. He made a total of 6 appearances, most from the bench, as more experienced players like Carlos and Salgado were preferred. A certain Sergio Ramos also featured in the fullback role for Fabio Capello's side. Los Blancos won the La Liga title that year, beating Barcelona only on head-to-head. That trophy, the first of 25 that the Brazilian was ultimately going to win at the club. If you had told an 18-year-old Marcelo that he was going to win a La Liga trophy just 5 months after joining the club, he might have believed you. But if you told him he would win 24 more major honors, become Real Madrid's most decorated player, and be compared to the great and legendary Roberto Carlos, he would have laughed at you. He might have only played 6 times in the 5 months, but the experience he gained was second to none. From almost quitting football to training with the likes of Raul, Beckham, Ronaldo, and Cannavaro at only 18. That was special. That summer, manager Fabio Capello was replaced by Bernd Schuster. That was coupled by Roberto Carlos departing the club, which resulted in more minutes for the young Brazilian. The new manager brought back fast-paced attacking football to the Bernabeu, which suited Marcelo to the core as he had the opportunity to showcase his attacking prowess. He made 32 appearances in all competitions that season as Real Madrid retained the title. In just 18 months at the club, he already had 2 La Liga medals in the bag. He had just turned 20. Once again, the club changed managers, this time appointing Juande Ramos, not the best event to take place considering Marcelo has settled in nicely under Schuster and was coming off the back of a successful season. Juande Ramos preferred a more defensive-minded left-back and so opted for Gabriel Heinze, relegating Marcelo to the bench. He was then deployed as a winger, which, as you would expect, turned out great due to his offensive skill set. Marcelo's future will be as a winger, but will push him back to defense when required. Let's just say he really enjoyed that role, scoring his first Real Madrid goal against Sporting Lyon and adding not 1, not 2, but 3 more to finish the season with 4 goals. Real changed managers once again. This time, Manuel Pellegrini was appointed. He continued to deploy Marcelo as a winger, and that turned out to be the right decision. At a point that year, he was the top assist provider in the league and was enjoying his new role. It would have been impossible to tell that that wasn't even his natural position. He finished that campaign with 4 goals and 9 assists in 35 league appearances. This season was viewed as his breakthrough season. He was selected in Brazil's preliminary squad for the 2010 World Cup in South Africa, but unfortunately didn't make the final 23-man squad. A blow for the 22-year-old, but an opportunity to have a few days off, get back to training, work on his weaknesses and improve on his strong points ahead of the new season. A new season where, you can guess it, right? A new season in which Real Madrid changed managers once again. This time, Jose Mourinho. 5 coaches in his first 5 years. Just one managerial change can affect a player's consistency. Not only the player but the team in general. Different personnel, different tactics, different ideas, and for a versatile player like Marcelo, this could actually turn out to be detrimental. One day you're on the left side, the next on the right. One season you're a starter, the next you're on the bench. Mourinho arrived with different ideas and his own brand of playing. He moved Marcelo back to fullback and told him he believed in both his defensive ability and attacking ability. Over the years, a couple of managers had made him believe he was a terrible defender but a good attacking player, so it was great to have some confidence instilled in him from the get-go. He also kind of had to be moved to the left-back position because there was a certain player who had now adapted to Spain and was ready to make that left-wing position his own. You might have heard about him before. His name was Cristiano Ronaldo. Despite being deployed at left-back, he scored 5 goals, including 2 in the Champions League round of 16 and semi-final, the latter against Barcelona. He also chipped in with 10 assists. And also, despite being an attacking fullback who was needed to run up and down that left side, durability was never a problem as he played a total of 50 games. He garnered a lot of praise that season. Paolo Maldini called him the best left-back in the world, and Diego Maradona said this: Messi and Ronaldo are number 1 and number 2 in La Liga. Marcelo is number 3. Huge praise. He continued his meteoric rise to world-class status the next season as Real Madrid and Mourinho enjoyed a record-breaking year. The 2012-2013 season was a disappointing one from both an individual standpoint and team-wise. He suffered a metatarsal fracture which kept him out for months, and on top of that picked up a hamstring injury which cost him a further month. They needed to bounce back. Bounce back they did, winning the 2014 Champions League, getting the better of rivals Atletico Madrid in the final, a final in which Marcelo scored the 3rd goal to pretty much seal the deal, his first Champions League trophy. That summer, he was selected in the Brazil squad for the 2014 World Cup, a home tournament, a great experience for every individual affiliated with the Seleção. A couple of bad records were broken though. First, Marcelo scored the first goal of that tournament. Unfortunately, it was past his own goalkeeper, the first ever own goal scored by a Brazilian at a World Cup. The second one, yeah, let's not spend any more time on that. And the worst thing to happen to Marcelo during that tournament was to lose his grandfather, a man who had gotten into this position in the first place. He decided to stay with the Brazilian national team and not attend his funeral, because that should have been his wish. He wanted Marcelo to play at the World Cup, and he wanted him to represent his country. This was a huge setback, but more success was about to follow for Marcelo. Not immediately though. Barcelona completed the treble in the 2014-2015 season. Real Madrid were about to embark on a journey of European domination. 3 Champions League titles, back to back back-to-back in 2016, 2017 and 2018. Marcelo was a regular, featuring in 85% of the games during the iconic run. He also continued his fantastic attacking contribution, scoring 10 times in the 3 years. During that period, he formed an unstoppable relationship with Ronaldo on the left side. Their combination and understanding of each other's games was a key component for Real success. He was more than a teammate, a brother that football gave me, one of the greatest stars I had the pleasure of sharing a dressing room with. During his final years with the Spanish Giants, he saw his game time reduced due to various injuries and the emergence of Ferland Mendy. He was named captain ahead of the 2021-2022 season following the departure of Sergio Ramos. Yes, he didn't feature a lot, but his leadership and influence was felt among young talents like Vinicius, Rodrigo, and the rest of the squad. Marcelo won his 24th major honor in 2022 after Real clinched the La Liga title, surpassing Paco Gento, a record that had stood for more than 50 years. Oh, he also added his 25th just a few weeks later, his 5th Champions League medal. After 16 seasons and 546 appearances, he announced he would leave the club. He joined Greek side Olympiacos on a free transfer on September 3rd, 2022. He made only 10 appearances before terminating his contract just 5 months after signing. He did score 3 goals in those 10 matches though. Just 6 days after leaving Greece, he resigned for his very first club, Fluminense. At the time of recording, he is yet to make his second debut for the club. Marcelo will go down as one of the best fullbacks to ever play the game and one of Real Madrid's greatest ever players. He transformed the left-back role from just a defensive position. His speed, ball control and agility coupled with the Brazilian skill and flair was a joy to watch. Sure, some of his previous managers and pundits have been critical of the defensive side of the game. Lack of concentration and poor positioning have been brought up, but that doesn't take away his other abilities. The crossing, the playmaking, the leadership and the link-up play, especially with Ronaldo during his prime years. What do you think of Marcelo? Is he the best left-back to ever play the game? And how high do you think he ranks in terms of Real Madrid greats? Jose Mourinho managed Marcelo during his time with Real Madrid, but was that the special one's prime? Click on the video on screen to answer that question.